What if I told you that Toyota's billion-dollar secret to solving any operations problem could be learned in under 3 minutes? The world's most successful companies use this deceptively simple technique to eliminate issues that most business owners would just tolerate and put band-aids on top of. I've personally used this technique throughout my career, saving the companies I've owned, the companies I've worked with, and the companies I've consulted for tens of millions of dollars. It's called the 5 Why process. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to implement this for your virtual business to fix the problems that are secretly killing your growth. This framework is extremely straightforward, so you could start using it immediately after this video. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sean Ross. I'm the founder of 8-Figure Agency. We're a growth consultancy and portfolio that's helped over 1,000 digital marketing agencies grow their businesses and get the founders out of their operations. Now, when it comes to the 5 Why analysis, I learned this when I was actually an undergrad, but I used it during my entire career working at Amazon, and I've used it in every single business that I've been in. But what I've never seen is a way to actually implement it simply for virtual companies. Now, what commonly happens in most businesses is you might tolerate issues, or you might aggregate a list of issues. Now, the first step to implementing this process is to either build a Slack channel that you title 5 Why or root cause analysis, or building a form that gets sent out to all team members called the 5 Why or root cause analysis. Now, in both cases, the channel or the form are going to be used to aggregate your issues, but here's what's different about this process. When I implement this process into my businesses, I do not allow my team members to just submit problems. Anytime you identify a problem, you must propose a solution. And what this actually allows you to start to do, it starts to create a team that thinks. Most founders and most companies have employees that don't know how to think because they just escalate all their problems uphill to their boss, their executive, their founders. And when you build this process, anytime you encounter a problem, you root cause it and you propose a solution. Now, if you're not familiar with what root cause is, this is a pinnacle point of this entire process. Now, root causing means finding the true root of a problem, not a tertiary cause or a secondary cause. Like, what is the actual true root reason? And I've aggregated a few examples from not only companies that I own, but also client businesses. So we could actually go through each example, how to use this framework and how you could do it today. Now, referencing this picture on the screen, we're going to walk through what this framework is and how you could start to use it, and actually what the common mistakes are, because I actually pulled an example to start off that's not a great solution. So first and foremost, you aggregate problems. As you could see here in this example, management is not getting told that we don't have something done until the 11th hour. Now, this is from a client, so I made sure we blocked some stuff out. And the 5 Why analysis starts the process of root causing. Once you have the problem, you need to ask why until you get to what the true cause is. And it's, well, why isn't management getting asked, right? We don't have a line of defense to make sure all things are getting escalated. Well, why don't we have that? We don't have a permanent account manager auditing the task to confirm that things are done. Well, why don't we have that? We are on different time zones and communication is getting more tricky. Why are we on different time zones? The team is not trained, doesn't have a specific task. What's really interesting about this example, this is an operator that doesn't have a background in operations. So he's attempted to actually do this, but he hasn't even done it well. And once we've tried to root cause it, step 3 is solutions. And you could even see here, solutions are not even done well. So like, this is a process that you could do well, but we're going to call out how to do it correctly. So this person said, we need to train the team to ask questions immediately to ensure that they're ready for something by reviewing secondary checklists. We need an AM that can check why something isn't done, and so on and so forth. So here's how we could do this better. Now, when you have the problem, you need to ask why 5 times until you get the true root cause. And I want you to focus not on the people, but the process. A lot of times as managers, as operators, we focus on people problems. In Japanese operations, you always start with the process first. How and why did the process let the person make a mistake? So if I were to look at this and, there are people that are not escalating problems, why is my team not escalating problems until the 11th hour? The root cause number 1 is there's a process flaw that has allowed team members to not escalate issues. Well, why is there a process flaw? There wasn't a clearly defined expectation around when problems need to get escalated. Why isn't there an expectation? We haven't defined in a simple process how to escalate, where to escalate, and when to escalate problems. Well, why isn't this? We don't have an effective project management system that we could use to not only track our day-to-day tasks, but also outline these expectations. So you could see here, my focus isn't on the people, it's on the process. And when I focus on the process, it gets me to a completely different place. Whenever we're creating solutions, we want to focus on what's called the Japanese process of poke-yoke, which is dummy proofing or mistake proofing or error proofing. So not only do we want to create a solution that first and foremost only focuses on the process, You also want to create a solution that can make it dummy proof. Like, how could a child not make a mistake here? So using that same example, if I were to create a solution for team members, my first solution would be building a project management system that tracks all tasks, all subtasks, having a dashboard that tracks when things are late, when things are going to be past due in the next 12 and 24 hours. I would also implement a solution that has a daily checklist. And on that checklist, there's a question that team members need to submit every single day. Is there anything that got stuck on today that's not finished? Is there anything that we need from a client in the next 24 to 48 hours that we don't have, right? So I would start to implement these forced behaviors and forced check-ins that actually make people escalate, like when we don't have something. And if we have a process where, let's just say we're running a graphic design agency and we need actual graphic concepts from a client 1 week in advance, if we have those dates coming up because we have a deadline in 7 days and our clients haven't sent that, I would have a check-in on project management system that says, have we collected the client documents? If the answer is no, I would have an immediate escalation. So within this process, as a solution, I would say create very clear escalation points that automatically get routed to the manager to intervene. So that's one of the simplest and clearest ways we could start to use the 5 why analysis. You identify problems, you focus on asking why on the process, not the people, to identify what the root cause is, on what about the process let the person make a mistake. And then for solutions, you focus on poka-yoke, dummy proofing, and you focus on process implementation, not training people. Don't focus on we need to train people more. We need to build a better process. Now, before I continue, because I'm going to give you a few more examples, if this video is giving you value and helping you learn how to build a better operation, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel, where every single week I'm going to be in your feed helping you build a business that can work without you. And if you want to learn exactly where in your business your company is making mistakes and where you could actually start to fix to improve your business, I have an AI quiz that's going to help analyze where you need to focus your time and energy into in your company to build a better operation. Go to that link below to take that quiz. I have one more example. Problem: end-of-day reporting has not been going smoothly. People have not been held accountable, me included, in providing daily summaries. Why? I told the team daily reports will go away due to new ClickUp being easy to show progress. Why? ClickUp is still not ready. Why? I personally have had a very difficult time dumbing down what needs to be in the checklist. Why? The team's given me a lot of feedback that I didn't test, right? So this person isn't following the 5 why process, right? End-of-day reporting is not going smoothly. People are not being held accountable. So what we need to focus on, what about the process is enabling people to not submit their checklist? Number one, why is this happening? People aren't being held accountable because we don't set an expectation that this is a clear part of keeping and maintaining their job. Why? We don't have a process to remind them during onboarding and to remind them every single day they need to submit it. Why? We don't have an accountability mechanism that if people don't do the end-of-day reporting, they could actually get escalated into written warnings and coachings and eventually terminations. Why? We haven't sat down to create the time to build this process because we don't know how to build it. Solution, right? So solution is, if you don't know how to build this, bring on an operations consultant to teach us how to build this process or build this process for us so we can hold the team accountable and have accountability tied to performance reviews. And as a secondary thing is bring on a person or build an AI solution that audits every single day and automatically builds a report that says who submitted the report and who didn't, right? So, and that accountability should be the solution. Once again, this person focused on the people, and the most important thing is to focus on the process. What is wrong with the process? How do we dummy proof things and build process to remove people problems? Not focus on what the people are doing, focus on the process. So if you've watched this video up until this point, thank you so much for consuming my content. If you're interested in learning how to build a business that could fully work without you, I made a masterclass training on how exactly you can do that step by step. Make sure you go to the video on the screen where you can learn how to get out of the operation and build a company that could grow and work without needing you. Thank you.